Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. It's about 10 minutes late. I've been dealing with some power issues here, but we're good to go. Thank you, everyone waiting in the live chat. I hope everyone had a good Friday. Now we're heading head first into the weekend. Listen, I'm excited about this week coming up. I think there's damage to be done. Last week was absolute craziness. And, you're going to have weeks like that. But last week really was hanging with me this whole week. I think I just started getting over it around like this afternoon. This was like one of the longest weeks I've had where I've been legitimately pissed off. And like but that happens, and it's just a part of the game. But if I made bad bets, that's fine. But some of the way things transpired last week on some of the bets didn't sit with me well. There was a lot of it that didn't sit with me well. And there's a lot of it, honestly, you can't control. But then again, that happens in games we win too. So I'm moving on, but I was a little bit down this whole week. Just starting to get the energy back. We'll see how everyone else is doing. What's up, Tasha? Thank you. What's up, Daniel? What's up? Let's get this money, Dan. Let's get it. Thank you for joining on Patreon. I really appreciate it. Kathy, hi all. Hope we all have a good week with our bets. I hope so too. I believe it will be a good week. This week I feel really good about what we're going to do on Patreon. I'm still deciding which games to put up there, but feeling really good. This is from John Jones. What's up, John? Hey, Lawson. Josh Allen always struggles with too deep coverage. And KC, okay. So you're saying you think Josh Allen might struggle against Kansas City? I don't think so. But like that's what they were saying about Pat Mahomes last year, and that's one reason why they said they traded Tyreek Hill. Because of like the too deep man-to-man, every single team would play against them, and then it limits the big plays. Like you're seeing teams use that against Cincinnati. That's why they're not getting the chunk plays. For me, man, I think this Chiefs defense is vulnerable. And that Raiders game didn't really prove anything to me that was like, oh, the Chiefs defense is for real. Like everyone's been saying, I don't think it's for real. I think the Bills win the game. Do I like the line movement? No, not really. What is it up to? -2.5. I didn't love the line movement, but then again, I do think the Bills should be able to win that by more than 2.5 points. And I'm looking for what Mahomes does against the Bills secondary. Because ever since Micah Hyde got hurt, we know Tre'Davious White has been hurt off and on this whole year. I'm more worried about that from a Buffalo perspective. I'm not worried about Josh Allen coming out and cooking. I am more worried about like, is the Bills secondary going to come to play? Like the Bills front seven's been really good. What's up, Tico? What's up, Tico? What's up, RG? What's up, JSOP? Hope everything is good with you, ma'am. Yeah, man. Friday. Here we go. University of Tennessee wins 38-34 against Alabama. Oh, yeah, I don't follow it, but I actually might watch that game tomorrow. It seems like Tennessee looks good, but like I said, you guys will know a lot more about that than me. It will be nice to see Alabama taken out. I watched their game earlier this year against Texas, and I was surprised that Texas was actually able to get him a game. So I can understand someone wanting to go with the upset with Tennessee. Bama probably is more vulnerable this year. But like I said, I'm not a college football expert by any means. It could be the week to take Bama. because we'll see what they do. My problem with Alabama when I watched them against Texas was their offensive line wasn't playing well, but they've had like 5-6 weeks to figure that out. That's usually the difference between Alabama and these other good squads. Their offensive line just beats the hell out of people. But we'll see. I'll look to you guys for that. What's up, Mountain of Thunder? Hope everything's good with you, man. Patrick. What's up, Lawson? What's up, Patrick? Have a great Friday, my man. Do you think the Cowboys will struggle to cover the spread against Philly this weekend? Should be a good one. I'm looking forward to that game, and I don't think it's the easy cover some people are making it out to be. Like I got a lot of Cowboys fans on the page, and they've been right about the Cowboys a lot this year. So I can't really say anything against them. But they are making this game out a little bit too much like a cakewalk, because for me, the Eagles haven't reached their fourth or fifth gear yet. I think we've seen the best out of the Cowboys with Cooper Rush. Now you add in Dak, maybe that adds a little bit more. That's neither here or there, but +6 is a lot. I actually think the Cowboys cover it, but I don't think it's going to be an easy cover. And this Eagles team is damn good. Like, they're the most balanced team in the league. So I would advise people picking Cowboys money line. Although last week, if you had them against the Rams, you would have made a fortune. And that was a really, really low sweat upset. Normally, every single upset in this league will have like 2 pounds of sweat next to whatever screen you're watching it at. That game didn't. Dallas is at 6.5 now. Okay. I'm surprised it moved up because a lot of people with big money have been betting Dallas this year. For me, I was a little bit surprised when I woke up Sunday morning. I saw Cowboys at Rams like +4.5, +4, +5. I thought that would be a little bit higher as well. Here we go. Let me get to the Patreon questions. Make sure you hit the like button, share the video, subscribe. Week 6, we're 1/3 through the season, through the regular season. It's gone by fast. Travis Fan, what's your unit plays on these games? I don't bet units because I bet real money. But normally I bet 10 to 20% of my bankroll on each game. And when I put a game on Patreon, I'm normally betting them the same number. So there's not a lot of science. Like I bet a lot, but it's in correspondence to my bankroll. So if that answers your question, I've never been into like the talking about units, like this is worth 3 units and stuff. That usually, from my experience on the internet, that's usually from people who don't bet. But I could be wrong. Cedric Jamerson, could Arizona be just good enough to cash? I gave Philly a little work. I say after watching replay, yeah, I like Arizona this weekend. Now, Arizona doesn't come out the first half of games. That's why on this show last week, even though I thought like Zona had a good chance to cover against the Eagles, I said Eagles first half. Because they just don't come out and play. And I always have fear of teams going into Seattle's home stadium. Like, I always put a little bit of salt on any team going in there, but I think the Cardinals do it. This Seahawks defense has big problems. They have some young players I like, but they can't really stop the run. They certainly can't stop the pass. Look at what the Lions did to them. Look at what the Falcons did to them. Those are just 2 games out of a lot of games. Like, look at the Saints offense. That Saints offense was on damn near life support. They get them in the Superdome. They put up like 35, 38 points. I think Arizona outscores them. Although I'm loving what Geno's doing, I do think that Rashad Penny injury is going to have an effect on Seattle. I really like the way he's been running the rock. They still ran it well after he went down in that Saints game. But, man, the Cardinals defense, they don't have any dogs. They don't have any stars since Chandler Jones left. And the last 3 years, I just keep thinking, okay, how are they going to be average? This is going to be below average to a poor defense. And then it seems like every single year they put out an above average performance. I don't know how they do it, if it's good defensive coordinator, or if it's luck, or it's just having the right guys in the right places. I don't know what it is, but their defense always seems to be average. If you play average defense against Geno and you got Kyler going up against defense that is one of the worst in the league, give me Arizona. Cedric Jameson says, also, our team's going into a buy good bets. Someone did the math on that. They said it didn't make a damn bit of difference. But you have to look at your situation you're looking at. If we're talking like a team with heavy travel, who's been to London and shit, that's the only shit I would look at for me. This is from Ed. I love your energy. Keep it up. Ed from Vegas. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Ed. We're going, man. Energy's still popping. We're at week 6. Daniel Martinez, are you sprinkling any money on Brazil to win it before the World Cup starts? Yes, I am. They are the future bet. It's better odds than normal when betting Brazil. I don't like the coach, but I do think it's a good future bet. Do think it's good odds. And from having caught up on some of these European national teams, I'm not too impressed with any of them. I'm not impressed with France, not impressed with England. Spain's at a low point. Belgium, come on, man. I'm just not impressed with them. That's where I'm at. And then also, yeah, that's what I'll say about soccer. Yeah, I get it. Like sports are kind of like a soap opera for men, but life's a soap opera. There's tons of crazy stuff happening. Okay, someone in the live chat's asking me what's the closest game. Let me think about that and let me answer that question. Closest game. I think Jags beat the Colts by a field goal. I think that Browns Patriots game is going to be close, even though I like the Browns. So if you're betting that one either way, it's going to be a sweat fest. I felt like the Commanders-Bears game would be really close. Obviously, the score wasn't really close, but it was decided by a half a yard. I think Vikings-Dolphins has close written all over it. Now, can someone give me the update on Theodore Bridgewater? Is he playing? Because if the Skyler guy comes out there again, stay the hell away from that one. Don't even touch it. I'm not touching it even if Teddy plays. It's my team. I just want to say, though, to people who are thinking about hammering Minnesota that game, listen, I'm excited about Kevin O'Connell. I am feeling that Kirk Cousins feels more comfortable. Justin Jefferson is top 3 receiver in this league. I don't care how you order him. For me, it's him and Tyreek Hill at a different tier above everyone else. But with that being said, this defense is still really, really bad. They make bonehead mistakes. You're going to see a lot of penalties for Minnesota down in the Miami Heat. They let games slip away. The Bears put up damn near 21 second half points against them to come back in the game. They needed Cam Dantzler to strip the ball away from a Bears wide receiver at like the 30-yard line to save that game from exploding in their face. Look at how bad the Saints played. And look at how the Vikings kept them in that game. I'm sure you guys watched that game because it was isolated in the time slot. Look at how bad the Saints played, and look at how my Vikings kept them around in the game. Now, bright spot. Against the Bears, Vikings got the run game going. Run game kind of has been inconsistent to non-existent so far this year. You have to try to run it against Miami because their secondary will make plays on you. So I think that's going to be the closest game. That's definitely being decided by a field goal, in my opinion. If Teddy plays. Okay. Yeah. Someone give me the update. Pringle, I listen. I don't think the Cowboys do it against the Eagles, but I've had a bad read on the Cowboys the whole year. So that's where I'm at, and I really like the Eagles. But Pringle, I'll tell you one thing. I think you just got in the chat now. I was pretty surprised that spread moved up to +6.5. I was not expecting that. I thought it would move more low than high. I was quite surprised by that. They named him. Skylar Thompson will be starting for the Dolphins on Sunday, Lawson. Throw that out in the trash, man. Because he was really bad. I'm not saying the kid can't improve. Like, we've seen Bailey Zappi, we've seen Cooper Rush come in and play competitive games, but Janice Stasulis, could one superstar wide receiver and one good wide receiver could save the Bears? I don't know if they could save the Bears, but I think they could be a respectable team like Atlanta. Because Eberflus has done a lot with this defense, and people forget how little talent there is on this defense. Linebackers are great. Defensive line is kind of bad. They only got Robert Quinn. Secondary is young, and for me, they're pretty bad, even though they played better than their abilities. But yeah, I think they would be respectable. And I said during the offseason, I was yelling about it the whole offseason. I feel like Justin Fields was sabotaged before going into this year. I don't think they want him, this new regime with Ryan Pace, Eberflus. I think they want to be able to drop him without fans going crazy. So I think this is Justin Fields last year, Chicago Bears quarterback. But I like him, man. Listen, last night was bad though, but a lot of it comes down to, like, come on, you gotta have some better red zone play calling. You were within the 5-yard line 3 times. What am I wrong? Like, yeah, at a certain point, we can't blame it all on Justin Fields. Like, there's only Darnell Mooney to throw to. Darnell Mooney would like be a good number 2 to stretch the field, but he's very, very limited. Thank you for the super chat. My Zua Yang, thanks for last week's game. Made some money. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the super chat. Let's get to the Patreon questions. Amir, betting heavy on the Bengals. I won't say anything about that, but I think you, since you're on Patreon, you probably already know how I feel. P. Lawson, I understand it seems like a no-brain, but I think you need to calm down on the Bengals -1.5. Such a trap game. Fundamental says Saints. I don't know, man. I wouldn't want to ride with Andy Dalton. I would not want to ride with Andy Dalton. And the Saints defense hasn't looked good. Like, the fundamentals about the Saints are good defense. They run the football. If Taysom Hill can't get like a 60, 70-yard run, they haven't been able to run it this year. And they haven't been able to stop opposing teams' pass offense this year. I'm worried about their defense. I thought their defense would be one of the best in the league. Like, and listen, I give Geno Smith credit. I tip the fedora to him. But giving up a 30 spot to Geno Smith in the Superdome, I don't know if that's like Bill Parcells' football fundamentals there. That's troublesome. That makes me worried. And the Bengals finally got the run game going. That's why I feel pretty comfy with that one, because my issue with the Bengals the first 4 weeks, actually first 4 weeks specifically, was their inability to run the ball. Like, Joe Mixon was averaging like 2.5 yards a carry, maybe even lower than that. And then if like we want to go to special teams, Saints haven't been pretty on special teams either. Give me Evan McPherson over Saints special teams as well. Give me quarterback over Andy Dalton. Listen, crazy things happen. It is the NFL. I just don't see it striking there. But yeah, that's my take. Okay. Charles Kaiser, Cowboys catching 6.5 points against the Eagles. I think it's a field goal game. Yeah, I actually do. I actually do think the Eagles win by 3 or 4 points. That's where my head's at. Or do you like the Cards minus 2.5 against the Hawks a little bit better? I like the Cards. I really like the Cards this week. I liked them a lot going into the Panthers, and I didn't pull the trigger, and I just hated myself the rest of the week. So I'm debating if I'm going to pull the trigger on that. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, P, for the question. Yeah, like I agree, Saints aren't going to go easy. But I don't know if like that's enough to get us beating our chest, winning a game because Taysom Hill had like a 60-yard run. That doesn't answer any of my concerns about them. Like Seahawks were in damn good position to win that game. Okay, here we go. Let's get it. Yeah, Bengals moved up to -3 now. Okay. Lee J. Monaghan says, all I care about is surviving. 2 picks this week. Bucks, heard you're upset on 49ers. This is the 12K pool. There's no ambiguity in the world's greatest football pool. You're either in or out, disqualified. Life and death happenings don't equal winning choices here. This week's numbers foretell nothing but the truth of all that matters to you. Okay. Oh, I don't know why you posted that. I don't know what that was on Patreon. The old Colsey Pickle. Hey, Lawson, love the contact. Keep it coming, my man. Thank you, Pickle. What do you think about Tampa covering 8.5? Steelers are terrible to begin with, but now reports are that half the starting defense is injured or questionable. Brady should be able to sit in the pocket at pass at will. My only fear is Pickett getting out. I would stay away from that game. I just don't want anything to do with that game. After what Tampa Bay did last week, I'm just going to sit out of that game. But let me give my opinion. That's probably how it will go down. And when I'm looking at the Steelers, man, there's just not enough dogs to rush the passer. Like I know the media loves Cam Hayward. But without Watt, they're just not getting a pass rush. And that secondary was exposed. And then to get pressure, they have to blitz. And if you blitz against Tampa Bay, like if you blitz against Buffalo, you're going to get burned more often than not. I would stay the hell away from it. But I'm also biased, man. I just don't want to bet Tampa again. Which I think you can understand why. You're up 21-0 and, you somehow managed not to cover that. It was just sickening, man. It was really, really sickening. And it wasn't even like a Miami Dolphins tier comeback where like the Falcons were throwing the ball around the park and the Bucs had a turnover or anything like that. The Falcons just ran it up the middle, the late third, fourth quarter. They just kept running it up the middle, 26 zone to the right, 24 zone to the left. It was like that, man. And it was like, okay, man, like this is ridiculous. And you know what run's coming. They get in the pistol every single time and just do an outside zone. Yeah, so that Tampa game was pretty a pretty bad pill to swallow. I mean, you're going to have those, and that's betting. That's why it's called betting. But yeah, man. Because they finally were able to run it. Like, Chris, I'm not saying they're going to fucking pound the New Orleans Saints, but they actually were able to run the ball against the Ravens. So my whole opinion is offensive lines get better as the year went on. Like, I think 4 out of the 5 of their offensive linemen are new, correct? So when I'm looking at that, obviously an offensive line doesn't have enough time to blend. The pass blocking is an issue for the Bengals. That's one thing I would say is an issue. But they were able to run it all year last year with a terrible offensive line. The offensive line is certainly better this year. I mean, and the Saints really haven't been stopping the run that great either. What have the Saints been stopping? I mean, I know they can show up and have a great game and anything's possible. But from what I was reading too, Marshawn Lattimore's probably not going to play. I mean, and that's the best player on the Saints defense for me by far. But we'll see, man. Yeah, they rolled him out. But that doesn't mean Bengals are going to run the ball, but it certainly makes it easier to throw the ball. Okay, let's get to the Patreon questions. Okay, here we go. Joseph Ware. Hello, Mr. Lawson. Absolutely love your show. What do you think of this? 49ers minus 5.5 by Cincy minus 1.5 and the Cowboys plus 6. Thanks for all you do. Are you trying to parlay that, Joe? I like it. The more the week's going on, the more I'm starting to like the 49ers minus 5.5. And it is a little bit risky because Atlanta, they stay around in games. Their defense really kind of stinks, but they're good at situational football. And you always have to worry about Jimmy G collapsing. But it's just the way the 49ers are getting the run game going. That's something I don't think it's all that risky the ride. Cincinnati, I went in depth in that already. Especially if you got Cincinnati early in the week at minus 1.5. Now it's up to minus 3. So it's like, do you want to play it or not? And then Cowboys plus 6. I think that's a safe bet, but that would be one I would look to substitute another game in because I am a little bit worried about maybe the Cowboys being overwhelmed in this game by the explosion of the Eagles. One way the Cowboys have been dominating teams, they dominated the Rams this way. They dominated the Commanders this way. Now, I know both have terrible offensive lines, but this Cowboys defensive line has been absolutely controlling games. One thing the Eagles do have is a top 5 offensive line, in my opinion. So it's going to be a little bit harder to dominate the Eagles offensive line than like the Rams or the Commanders. So I would probably check that one out. Unless you think this Cowboys defensive line is just going to eat them alive. I mean, I've seen good offensive lines get eaten alive before. But the Eagles really do have really good run-pass balance. I don't think my one criticism with the Eagles so far this year, specifically that Arizona game, was I felt like the Eagles didn't run the ball good enough. Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss anything on Patreon. Make sure you hit the like button. Okay, here we go. Camp, JL, still on Baltimore minus 5.5. Yeah, okay. So to answer your question, I do like Baltimore minus 5.5. I do see that moved as well. Let's see what it moved to. Let's see what it moved to. Okay, so on one book, it's at minus 5.5, but on the other ones, it's at minus 6. The 6 isn't the number that worries me. If it got up to minus 7, it worries me, but I still like Baltimore. I am a little bit nervous. They are going on the road, and you saw how they played sloppy football last week against the Bengals. I felt like it was a pretty decent performance from the Ravens, but it certainly wasn't their best. Missing 2 or 3 wide open passes, that was really frustrating. And some people say blitzing Lamar is the best way to stop them. I wouldn't go that far. We know what the Giants defense is going to do. They're going to blitz, and they're going to keep blitzing. So I wouldn't say it's like a money pick. even though it is a money pick. I'm not trying to talk myself out of it because at the end of the day, that was the game I saw and the game I liked the most. It's just I was a little bit creeped out by it going to -6. I felt like there would be Giants hype pushing it down. Nicholas Vincent. Hey, Lawson, between the Rams and Bucks, who would you take for Survivor? The best gambling show on the internet. Thank you, Nick. Rams and Bucks. Give me Rams. Rams, if you've waited to take Rams this week for Survivor, it's a good way to do it. Like PJ Walker starting, so I don't think you should have any troubles. Here we go. Tim, I haven't decided if I'm going to bet the game. I haven't decided. That's one that's been going back and forth in my head all day. Because the way Mahomes has been playing, this is the best I've seen him play in like 3-4 years. And like I mentioned earlier in the show, I know Josh Allen will tear up the Chiefs defense. I'm pretty confident in it, but you know, you got to stop Pat Mahomes a few times if it's -2.5, -3, you know, and I'm worried about this Micah Hyde injury for the Bills. He's out for the season. Secondary hasn't looked the same since he's been out. Tre'Davious White's injury problems. Those are two things I'm extremely concerned about. Very concerned about, actually. Although Bill's pass rush is a lot better this year, you can feel better about that. Those are some of the things that are pulling me in the Bills' direction, but we got to see how that Bills secondary plays. I mean, if anyone's got an answer, then that's probably the key to unlocking who wins that game. Okay. Let's get to Derek. Money. What's up, Derek? Hey, John, if you had to remove one game off of this 7-point teaser, which game would it be? Baltimore +1.5, Cincinnati +5, Green Bay -0.5, Tampa Bay -2. Okay. Keep Rams, Buccaneers, Green Bay, Cincinnati. I would either remove Baltimore or Buffalo because that's just not enough value in either of those games. Because, like it or not, crazy shit happens in this league. So the math is working against you with those two games. But the other ones are perfect. Have a good weekend, Derek. Okay, this is from Johnny Gonzalez. I got a few plays I will be moving on, and I strongly recommend. San Fran first half -3. I agree with that. I agree with that one. New England team total over 20. Browns haven't been stopping anyone, but Bailey Zappi coming. Is Bailey Zappi the guy you guys think he is? Arizona -2.5 is my best bet. Good luck this week. I like Arizona this week too. Although we could be walking into a fucking machete setup with that one. Here we go. Yeah, man. I honestly like there's one guy having a breakdown on Patreon about the Thursday night game. Like, if you were betting that game for anything but fun, then you are a degenerate, and you will not make money betting Washington at the Bears. If you won, fine. If you lost, fine. But at the end of the day, you will not make money betting that game. And I don't know why that's just a crazy thing for me to spin around. Like, on Instagram, you guys follow NFL 24/7, correct? Like, I know you guys try to watch as many games as me. On Instagram, I did a poll last night. Bears +1, no names -1. The results were like this. 13% said they're not watching it. 42% had the no names. 44% had the Bears. That means it's a fucking perfect spread. That means there's nothing to gain there. And if you're betting that game, like, I don't know what to say to you. And it's Thursday night. I just feel like they created Thursday night just to get people gambling. I know the world's bigger than our small little corner of the internet, but our small corner of the internet has gotten quite big the last 2 or 3 years with lots of corporate money behind it, FanDuel commercials on every single second. Like, I understand it's not like a small pit where us degenerates sit in a corner and talk about betting, where you will say the spread to someone and they'll act like you're fucking speaking Chinese. I understand that completely, but how could you not learn a lesson last week from Broncos Colts? We're just not getting the quality football on Thursday night. We're not getting quality games. Obviously, these dudes are not ready to play. Obviously, the NFL players, they can't bounce back that quick. So you see games like that. And you can try to pick the flow of the game, like the over and under. Maybe picking a winner is easier, but it's very, very hard. And for me, it's not worth the time, and you should just watch it. And then, if you won money with the Commanders, you got to recognize that, Bears were within the 5-yard line, 3-4 times, and they come away with like no points each time. Maybe they kicked a field goal on one of them. I mean, so yeah, that's where I'm at. And the Thursday night games are so terrible. They are so terrible. And I picked the games because I can't cower away from it. I told no one about that game. I said, please don't bet it. And some people take the shit like way too seriously. And it's just, if you bet a game, go serious on it. But damn, like betting Washington and Bears after that Colts Broncos game last week, I don't know what to say. Feel like I'm turning into some sort of internet boogeyman. Like, the guy has a bad day at work, and got a bad day at work. His boss was yelling at him. The new female secretary was shitting on him. They were making fun of his shoes and stuff. They were shitting on him all day. So he goes home. He's angry. He can't say anything at work because he needs this job. He goes home. He sees the dog. Dog does fuck all to him. He just comes in and just kicks the dog. Just kicks the dog. When the dog didn't do anything to him. Dog was just fucking sitting there. Like, it's just, damn, like, I know, dude, not the dog, but it happens, man. It's just like a lot of stuff happens in people's days, and I understand it's tough out there. Like, I completely understand. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I think the psychological term is sublimination. Okay, back to Patreon questions. Goldberg G, how about Jacksonville money line? I like that. Although, is there really enough payout difference for you to get greedy there? Let's see what it's at. Let's see what it's at right now, because when I saw it earlier today, it was at +2. Okay, here we go. Okay. Oh, Brigado. Okay, so one book has it at +2.5. All the other books have it at +1.5. At that point, yeah, you can just go money line. I was hoping to get the +2. Yeah, I'm glad you guys understand. Because I started noticing that like a long time ago. I would see people get like shit on at work and stuff, and like I would feel bad for them and stuff like that. And but then they just go out and take it out on the wrong dude, like. uh, yeah, man. Here we go. Um, Mikhail, how do you think Cincy D is going to do? Does the time affect this game? I don't think the time affects the game. Um, I think this Bengals defense, I think they'll be able to get pressure. And that's something they haven't gotten as much as last year, my man. One thing that I thought the Saints would be very, very good with this year was offensive line play. I thought they would be bullying teams up front. That hasn't came to fruition. And I understand a lot of people feel different ways about the Saints. Like the biggest bet I made this year was a future bet on the Saints over 8.5 wins. I'm not counting myself out if they don't win against the Bengals, but also I'm not trying to look for things that aren't on the film. You know what I'm saying? I just can't build up the positivity that some others are building up about the Seahawks win. Offensive line, they're not getting enough push. So we know the Bengals got a pretty decent defensive line, nothing to write home about. I think the Bengals can get some pressure. And I think that Bengals defense, it's more about front seven stopping the run. Don't let the Saints get the run game going. If Saints get the run game going, then that's anyone's game. And also like I don't know why we have such a short memory on Andy Dalton. I don't know why we have that short memory on Andy Dalton. Yeah, I get you though, because the only time difference I think that makes a difference, my man, is when you're on the West Coast and you've got to go to the East Coast to play a 1 o'clock game. I think that's the only thing that has been documented to make a difference. Although people were making that excuse for not betting the Niners last week, and you saw what the Niners did to the Panthers. Busy Gal 405. It's just a comment. I'm done with Thursday night football. Good grief. Yeah. That's why I've said it many times. There'll be 2 or 3 bets from me a year on Thursday night football. And some people act like I'm a scaredy cat and like I'm hiding in a corner. It's just, you guys understand football. You understood that the differences in who won that game was like so small, so minuscule. Like, can we be honest about something? Bears played the better football that game. Yes, it doesn't matter. It matters who wins or loses, who covers the spread. Obviously, that's the case, but you want to try to bet teams that are going to try play better than the other team. That's your hope, right? It doesn't always go your way. Moneyline Repo, what's up, Moneyline? Big Money Lawson, what's up, Brody? Would you take plus 15 Jets or plus 2 Packers, plus 2 Packers? Although plus 15 Jets isn't the worst thing in the world due to the lack of explosion from Green Bay. But I think Green Bay wins this game by a touchdown. Like, I think Vegas is right with the spread. I see it being like a 27-20 game. So I think you should be good either way. Also, will the Broncos score enough points to keep up with Herbert and the Chargers? I don't think so. And I did not make that a money pick on Tuesday's video. But as this week goes on, I'm thinking Patreon users, that might be a late bet that hits. I'm not making the guarantee now. I haven't put it in yet. I'm still thinking about it. But the more I think about that, I know what's at -4.5 hasn't moved up. Let's see what it's at. Let's see what it's at. Okay, come on, come on. This site I use sucks. Okay, it's at -4.5. One book has it at -5. Uh, the more I think about that, the more I think the Chargers win that game. I don't like betting primetime games, but that's one I'm slowly working my way into as the week goes on. Don't do it yet, though, because we've seen how these primetime games went. They're unpredictable. It does seem a little bit safe. It does. And we got to just watch the Chargers injury report. We had the Chargers last week, and the reason why I didn't bet it was because the injury report. So, and there's some stuff going on with Brandon Staley. Like the way he managed that ended the Cleveland game was a head scratcher, to say the least. I know this YouTube channel doesn't support Brandon Staley. But that game against the Broncos should get to a point where it's not going to be a sweat fest with Staley making big decisions or making the wrong decisions. Yeah, a lot of injury concerns. JP, you're completely right, man. And I don't know what the NFL was thinking going this hard with the Broncos. I'm not saying I'm a genius. I've been right about things this year. I've been wrong about things. On the AFC West preview video, I picked the Broncos to finish fourth. And I wasn't the only one in the world to pick them finishing fourth in the AFC West. And then the NFL gives us them damn near every single night. It's bad, man. Oh, well, you would think there's a response from the Broncos. You would think. Their defense is pretty good. You would think they would look a little bit better than they have been. They played a good quarter against the Raiders, where they played. Actually, I felt like they were playing good ball. Then they can't throw it, and then they stop running the ball. Like there's just so much head scratching going on with that team at this point. Yeah, I think Nat Hackett might be a 1-and-out, kind of like Vance Joseph was. I think he was a 2-and-out, kind of like Steve Wilkes was with the Cardinals. I haven't seen a coach this bad since like Joe Judge, Steve Wilkes with the Cardinals. I don't throw out that stuff because I don't like being dramatic about these coaches, but he really is that bad. Okay. Let me get to next question. Fredo, I think this is time we ride with Green Bay. The line should be Green Bay -10.5. Rodgers will show up and show out at home after 2 embarrassing losses. The Jets are still one of the worst teams in the league. I agree. I wouldn't say the line should be -10.5. Although the way people are building up the Jets, you might get a lot of people betting that way. You might get like 70% of the bets on the Jets. That's where I'm at. I don't think you're far away from where I'm at. There's things that are scaring the hell out of me about the Packers. I had the Giants to cover last week, but in no shape or form did I think the Giants would have a chance to win that ball game. No way. And you saw how that went down. Worried about the explosion. Christian Watson absolutely sucks. Although we're starting to see Dobbs and Cobb, Aaron Rodgers obviously feels comfortable with them. I just want to see the Packers run the ball more. I don't know why they're getting away from Aaron Jones. I don't know why they're not pounding it 25, 20 times a game with him and Dylan. They need to run it more. Then they'll take care of business. I'm worried about the Pats quarterback situation too, Frito. Browns haven't played good, but I think before we start burying the Browns, we have to look at their last 3 games, and they could damn well be 3-0 in those games. Yes, losses count as losses, but I've seen some decent things from the Browns this week. From like the last 3 weeks, like against the Chargers, they were a Jacoby Brissett interception to end zone from winning that game. A lot of it due to Brandon Staley, but the Browns are staying close in these games. B-Money Toast, Lawson. My pick of the week is Buffalo at -2.5. I think we have to look at the Bills' motivation for going into this game. The Bills will be out for blood after that heartbreaking loss they suffered in the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they hang 35 on the Chiefs' defense. Your thoughts? Same line of thinking. I think both teams are going to be motivated. Like you said, maybe Bills a little bit more motivated, but both teams bring good energy every game. So that's not something I'm using to separate them. But the thing that I'm looking at that separates them is I feel like the Bills got better players on defense. And I feel really confident about that. Now, I know. I'm not trying to shit on the Chiefs defense by any means. They have a very good coordinator. They mix up coverages. They mix up blitzes. Yeah, so I just think the Bills will have a better pass rush as well. Bills' offensive line getting healthy. Think Josh Allen is able to stand in there and throw it. There are some wild cards to this game. Andy Reid always has some tricks up his sleeve. But give me this Bills defense. Although, can someone give me a damn update on Tre'Davious White? ESPN, the ESPN injury report app has him as marked out, but says he's expected to practice. That doesn't make any sense. Can someone look that up, please? My man, I think they're going to use Taysom Hill as I think they're going to use him as a wildcat running back, but they need to use him more. They need to use him more. He's the only one on the offense getting big plays. I'm not seeing anyone else on the Saints offense generate big plays. Are you? So I'm expecting a heavy dose of Taysom Hill this week. Although the Bengals should be ready for it, right? Although with Taysom Hill, when Taysom Hill gets the rock, you can be ready for him and he can still pull a great run. But these teams need to be a little bit more disciplined. We're just seeing basic counter traps and Taysom Hill's taking it 70 yards. Like that's a lot of it is coaching. Like Coach Taysom Hill is awesome, but I think we will start seeing the NFL adjust to that. We saw how the NFL adjusted. Remember the Dolphins Wildcat? We're going to see it adjusted too. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Normally they're better about that. Like I think Tre'Davious White is an X factor. Like that's just one thing I want everyone to say about that game. I think it makes a damn bit of difference. And that Bills Chiefs game with those games, they're really hard to predict because I'm not talking the score. I'm not talking who wins, who covers, or whatnot. But when you're looking at the over-under with those teams, when we get over-unders 54.5, 56.5, 55, man, sometimes you can have a slow-paced NFL game. Both offenses can play great, and you can have like a 27. You could have like a 27-24 game, and the under would hit. So that's always one to look out. I know some people are going to be pounding that over-under. Okay. Yeah. Can we just talk about that trend? Dan, can we just talk about this trend? Because your comment is about that. Okay, so let me just read it. Trends are meaningful until they're not. But Wentz is still undefeated on Thursday Night Football. Atlanta is still undefeated against the spread, and Andy Dalton is undefeated versus his old team. So it's a no-go for me on the Cincy win. I'm talking undefeated stats here, so keep making money on 100% until you can. Dan, can we just get to the point where maybe that's an anomaly? Can we get to that point? Like, and like, yeah, there are people putting out stats like Carson Wentz is 6-0 on Thursday Night Football, and remember the Teddy Bridgewater was 17-3 against the spread at 1 o'clock games, and all that stuff. Man, I don't have the mind to break that down, but like, it's just my instincts ever since I was like 4 or 5 years old. My mind has always shot that shit down. Um, Let me think of an eloquent answer because like that stuff. Listen, NFL's tough to bet, man. It's not easy. We're in a game where 56% makes you elite. And, when you're in this game, it wears on your mind. It's not easy on your blood pressure. Most of us have some sort of nicotine addiction, alcohol addiction, something along those lines. So I understand it's not easy. It's taxing on the body, and when you're elite at something, being 56% or 60%, or the guy with the McMansion at 63% is elite, it can wear on your mind a little bit. And I think these things are crutches for people. I think it's kind of like a safe space. Like when the United States was having beef with the Soviet Union, they used to have nuclear tests. Like if a bomb was coming, they would tell the kids to hide under the desk or get in the closet. If that comes, it doesn't matter where you hide unless you're in some sort of fortified underground bunker. So, like, the NFL is complicated. But you obviously saw how bad Carson Wentz was. He had little to no factor in that game. Do you remember his Eagles teams? Top 5 offensive line in football, top 10 defense. Carson Wentz just didn't have a lot of say in those games. And it wasn't due to him. And things are anomalies. And I think these things are a form of a coping mechanism with a brutally tough world, a world that's extremely complicated, and the world that is completely unpredictable, in a world that's in flux. Like, if that gives you comfort, that's fine. But betting the no names last night because Wentz was 6-0 on Thursday Night Football doesn't give me much comfort. Same thing with the Teddy Bridgewater stuff we used to hear. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure there's a more eloquent way, but I do feel like it is a little bit of a coping mechanism. Okay. But glad to have you on Patreon. Let's get this money man. B Money. Okay, let's get to Dan again. Does anyone else agree that if Cooper Rush beats Philly, that Dallas needs to trade Dak ASAP? I don't know. I don't think they should trade him when the value is low. You saw how much the no names gave up for Carson Wentz this offseason. There's going to be a place to trade him. Although Carson Wentz, man, I would say Dak's better than Carson Wentz. But that's not a button I would want to push. That would be pretty bold. Like, is anyone seeing Cooper Rush being like the next version of Tony Romo? And Dallas fans used to always act like Tony was like the worst quarterback ever when he was actually a baller. Definitely stressful while multitasking with life and work for sure. Yeah, it is stressful, and I think we look for comfort any which way. And if that's what caused you to pick the no names last night, I guess I'm good with it. Okay, Alan Corrales, my boy. One, if you put college funds in which game would you do this weekend? I'll type it to you. Kona K08. Can you please give a little bit more info about your process? Do you look at Vegas lines before your analysis, or are you handicapping each game and then looking at the lines for best values compared to yours? Can you share an example of how you look at a game and decide? Thank you for all you do. So I did that live one time when I think it was after the wild card round of the playoffs. I got live on YouTube and I guessed what the spreads will be. I was pretty close for that divisional round. I was off on one or two, but I was pretty close. I was really in the ballpark, nailed some on the head. I do that a little bit, especially when it gets to Sunday night. I do that, but it's more of an exercise, and it's not anything I go on. But it's just something I do. It's just to keep my mind flowing. But here's what I look at. I look at the matchups. If we're talking Jets and Packers, let's just go down Jets and Packers for an example. I watched the Packers against the Giants game. I've watched every Packers game this year. Same thing with the Jets. So you have to look at last week and you have to weigh that. Jets look good against the Dolphins, but we have to look at the circumstances. Skylar Thompson was playing quarterback since the first play of the game. Miami committed a lot of stupid penalties, but let's not take away for the Jets for that, but let's just put that where that belongs. And let's look at what the Packers did last week, and they completely blew a game they were in control of. They didn't run the ball enough, and it seemed like their defense just completely collapsed. And then you look at the matchup. Is this Jets offensive line going to be able to bully Kenny Clark? Are they going to be able to bully the front seven of the Packers like they did against the Dolphins? Rashawn Gary will probably say, hell no. I wouldn't go that far. And then we look at Zach Wilson. What did he do against the Dolphins, since we don't have a lot of film on him this year? We have film on him from last year, but I wasn't impressed with that. I know some people are hopeful. I wasn't, but I got an open mind. I'll change my opinion on someone. I didn't like what he did against the Dolphins. I did not like what he did against the Dolphins at all. He had lots of good play calls, play action, three-man routes, good protection. Didn't make too many plays. He also didn't look too comfortable in the pocket. That's my main issue with him. And so you got the Packers defensive line going up against that Jets offensive line. And then with the Jets, you get like a curveball coming in. Dwayne Brown came back last week, and he really helped that Jets offensive line. And then when I'm looking at it, we have to look at who's playing quarterback for the Packers. We have to look at, let's be realistic. Look at how damn good the Packers were in the first half. Why do the Packers keep folding during games? Is that something that's going to happen every week, or is that a one-in-a-time thing? And that's where the betting comes in. I'm betting the Packers play a complete game. I'm betting the Packers come out pissed off, and I'm betting they run the ball more. Bakhtiari is finally getting healthy. And listen, this Jets defensive line, they played pretty good this year, but I'm not sold on them. I think the Packers push them around. I really like Sauce Gardner and the Jets secondary, but I think Aaron will be able to do enough. But everyone wants to talk about the Jets secondary with this game. That's not what I'm looking at. It's about the Packers offensive line. And for me, when I handicapped this one, I felt like Packers would win by like 9-10 points in that range. So that's a step into my process. Jeez, Lawson, call it what it is already. Fixed. Listen, I don't. The NFL refereeing involvement in games is suspicious. Let's just say that. I don't think it's fixed. I don't think it would be coordinated enough. But let's just call a spade a spade. The officiating is really, really bad. I'm going to go get some water. I'll be back. I'm going to get some guests on. Send me an email if you want to come on. I'll be back in like a minute. If you're coming late to Patreon to ask me a question, I'll read it when I get back or I'll type to it. Thank you. Hit the like button. Slam that like button for me. Appreciate it. You care. Appreciate everyone hanging around. Okay, let's see. Yes, Packers said they would worry if Jets beat them. So what should happen? Yeah, I mean, Packers should be worried already. I'm worried about them. Yeah, I'm working on it. Think there's something I can put in the Streamlabs to do that. Yeah, I got a glass of water and used the bathroom. Here's what I've noticed. I lived in upstate New York my whole life, and there actually weren't that many Jets fans. And most of the Jets fans, they really weren't like diehard fans. Like, you know how like the media makes them out to be like, oh, they watch every game no matter how bad they are. Like, most of them just stopped watching like week 5, week 6. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think the Jets are playing better football than the Packers. Um, I mean, we gotta watch. You know, like, are we just judging it off last week's game, or what are we judging it off? I've seen some bad performances from the Jets. The Bengals game was terrible. Um, seen that Browns game, yeah, they came back crazy, but they looked pretty bad that game as well. Steven Martinez, what do you think about the Cards game and Browns game? Do you think both can win? I do think both can win. And I think I'm going to be out on an island this week with the Browns. It seems like you guys are supporting me with the Cardinals pick. But it seems like everyone is going pitchfork on me for the Browns pick. And let's just preface this. I have been steadily betting against the Patriots ever since Tom Brady left. It has been lucrative, but I am going to take a few punches on the chin, man. That's betting, that's life. But I do think I'm not buying in the Bailey Zappi. I watched the Patriots Lions game last week. Credit to Bailey, credit to the hoodie, credit to the Patriots. But I didn't see anything outstanding from the Pats. I saw a Lions team that didn't show up. I saw a Lions team where coaching decisions completely cost them the second and third quarter of that game. And you don't want to take anything away from a team when they win, but we have to look at that game with just a wee bit of perspective. You know what I'm saying? And I think the Browns, when we look at them, they've played good football. Their defense has been the scary thing for me. Like, I thought the defense would be pretty good, and then they would be a little bit lackluster on offense. The offense has been humming the last 2-3 weeks. And the Browns have been in so many close games. Just by the process of mathematics, they should be able to pull this one out. And, you know, it's different this year. You put in Cooper Rush, you put in Bailey Zappi, they come in and they're winning games. I don't know if I want to bet on guys like that. I don't know if Bailey Zappi can play. We just don't have enough film. We don't have enough evidence. But we could probably lean towards he's probably not all that good. Given some of the quarterbacks drafted ahead of him. I know you can throw out Tom Brady and you can do all that, but and the Cardinals, I think they'll have very explosive plays. And when we look at both defenses in this Cardinals game, we got the Cardinals defense and the Seahawks defense. I trust the Cardinals defense a lot more. I think both offenses will play pretty good. Rashad Penny out for the Seahawks will hurt them a little bit, although it's not a reason why the Cardinals are going to win. And we're seeing Kyler Murray getting a little bit of a better rhythm. They deserve better against the Eagles, but it's their own fault for being stupid near the end of that game. But I think we see a bounce back performance from the Cardinals. And did anyone happen to see that Kyler Murray highlight green suit? The upset I would go for is Jags. Okay, here we go. Well, at least I've been good on Monday night. Haven't been good on Thursday night, but you know what? If I was good on Thursday night, I would not fucking beat my chest about it one bit. I had a rant on Thursday night earlier. What's up, Monique? What's up, Monique? Thank you, you big. Thank you, big. I hope you have a great weekend, my man. I hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's getting comfy for the weekend. Yeah, I am worried about Browns without Denzel Ward. If there's a week to not have them, I feel like they can get away with it. Tico, did you happen to see what they're saying about Myles Garrett? Don't quote me. Last I said, Myles Garrett should be playing. That was the one. That was the pendulum I was waiting to drop. Obrigado. Beijo. Um, Rants. I gotta agree, man. And I know people want me to change my opinion on the Saints. And trust me, I want to change my opinion on the Saints. Like I told everyone, the biggest bet I have this year is a future bet on Saints over under 8.5 wins. I picked over. So obviously I'm in trouble here, and I'm trying to view things from a little bit of a positive perspective, but they just haven't been there. Credit to them for pulling that game out against the Seahawks. But another week of Andy Dalton, yeah, man. Okay. Drudy, Rams win big. Yeah, we haven't talked about Rams Panthers yet. I do think they do, because I don't want to go back to last year, because the Rams team last year had maybe 3 or 4 future Hall of Famers that are not on this year's team. But let's just go back to last year. Remember when the Rams were playing like shit? They got completely mauled against the 49ers, lost to other good teams. These were their games when they were 10-point favorites at home, 13-point favorites at home. They seemed to cover every single one of those games. And listen, McVay's not letting his boys go down without a hammer. Yeah, I would not bet the Rams, though, because I don't like betting -13s, -10s, -11s. I'll do it if I need to, because I like to have 4 or 5 games in play per weekend. Um, yeah. Yeah, Dale, it's crazy. They got these bots everywhere, man. They're everywhere. Yeah. Eric Howell, you have a great feel for the NFL. Thank you, Eric. Do you think you can start picking college football games? I don't watch enough of it, and I wouldn't be doing it the correct service. Some people say it's easier to bet, but with college football, I think you would need to do completely different and more research. And I like to go back and watch games. With college football, that can be a little bit tricky. Correct. With NFL, it's easy. You just get Game Pass and then you go. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I missed any Patreon questions. Here we go. Houston, Kelly, Jackson. If the Eagles were to cover the spread, what would be the keys to them doing so? Limiting Dallas's pass rush and the Eagles running the ball. If listen, if the Eagles are running the ball, man, then they'll be able to limit the pass rush. We saw the Commanders have a little bit of success running the ball. Rams didn't have too much, but for me, when you got 2 really good defensive ends, you got to run the ball. And I feel like the Eagles haven't been running the ball enough this year. That's my only complaint about them. Yes, Hurts has been running it, but we haven't been seeing their running backs get enough touches up the middle, especially when you look at how good their run game is. And then on defense, you can't make mistakes. Make Cooper Rush beat you. You don't need to send all-out blitzes. You put 8 men in the box, you stop the run from the Cowboys, and you make this man beat you. And I want to see what Sirianni does. If they do that, I think they'll cover it. But with the Eagles, they fall in love with the pass game, and it's easy to fall in love with that. It's really easy to fall in love with the pass game when you got like Smith, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert, and Hurts playing pretty good football. Okay, I missed some Patreon questions. Michael Cooper, do you like Miami +3 this week? If I had to pick that game, I would go Miami. But dude, that game's unbettable for me with Skylar Thompson there. Yeah, that game's unbettable at this point. Nicholas Basso, Lawson, Packers, buy it down to -7. Do you think the Bucs know something with this game? All the money is going on the Giants. I don't see them winning. Yeah, the money stuff can be deceiving. We had a guy keeping track of that earlier this year, and the thesis didn't stick, although I do get what people are saying. Yeah, I don't like this at 7.5. I don't like this at 7.5. I know on one book it's still at 7, but it's at 7.5 on the rest of them. I would buy the point. Here we go. Okay, we're going to get Adam on real quick. We're going to start getting some people on. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Smash that like button. Appreciate it. Lauren, send me an email. I'm gonna get Adam on real quick. Then I'm gonna get you on. Okay, here we go. I just saw your message now. Devontae, send me an email. Okay, I'm typing my email now. So if you see it, I'll get you on after Lauren if you can wait. I'm going to just get Adam on real quick, then going to get Lauren on, then I'll get you on, then I'll be posting the bets on Patreon tonight. Give me like to 9:30. Have to look at some injury reports. Yo, what's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, what's happening, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I like the USA basketball shirt.
Yeah, this was the good old 90s when the dream team would just conquer every team they played. Now the USA basketball team, they be losing to Spain, Croatia. It's like, what happened? You know?
Yeah, 3-point shot, equalizer,
Yeah, I just finally got my voice back, man. It's been a rough week.
Did you have the disease?
No, I had that disease last year. And, this is actually the regular fever is worse than the disease. So.
No, because dude, when they kept everyone bunkered down for 2 years, they basically just completely destroyed everyone's immune system. So I got hit by like a regular cold. Never had a cold in my life. It rocked me.
Yeah, and I got it from my nephew. So plus I'm getting old, man. I'm almost 40, so me dealing with a fever is not like when I was 20, where you would just snap out of it in 2 days. So it hits you.
Yeah, all right, man. So, like, what's the sick play of the week?
Man, here we go. Listen, I had a bad day in sports betting today. The Yankees screwed me over, man. So I'm trying not to be emotional about sports betting, but I am emotional. And don't have me start yelling like the way you start yelling, man. Don't.
What happened? I didn't see it. My dad sent me a message, but I didn't talk to him. I didn't see what happened.
All right. This probably was one of the worst bad beats I've ever lost in my life today. So I had bet that neither teams would score in the first inning. Okay? Cleveland went first. 0. The Yankees, 1 out, 2 outs, 2 strikes, and the guy hits a homer.
That's crazy.
So
that's an interesting bet, man. I like that bet though.
Yeah, and here's the deal. That was the only score the Yankees had was that home run the entire game, and I had the Yankees money line, and they lost the game 4-2. So anyhow, let's talk football. Forget about baseball.
It's
Baseball.
kind of it's so fucking funny, but yeah. All right, yeah. Who's your pick?
I have a few, but I'm gonna. You want me to say college fun? Because I don't want to encourage some folks, man.
It's
No.
dude. You might as well just say it because, dude, they don't damn listen anyways. Like,
No.
no, 90% listen. It's just, man, like I love the degenerates, like, and I understand the degenerates, but damn, like if you're putting big money on the Commanders and Bears, it just makes me want to hit a wall at a certain point.
I almost broke my TV yesterday because I did take the Commanders, and it was just so horrible. I thought that a Canadian football team would have beat the Commanders yesterday.
Bro, it was bad, man.
All right, so here's my bet, and this is I'm gonna say this with this is an easy pick for me. Arizona to beat the Seattle Seahawks to cover 2.5. I think Arizona shows up and wins by 10 or more points. They have to win. Seattle is a bad team. And if I'm betting my money, I think Arizona shows up. And like you said, I think they'll have a few big plays, and Seattle won't be able to catch up. So, folks, there it is. Me and Lawson are on the same page. Arizona to win and cover tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I remember on Instagram, and I liked the Cardinals at Panthers. We were talking about that the whole week. Then I somehow got talked out of it by myself. Listen, man, and that's why sometimes I can't stay on Patreon that much, because at a certain point you gotta slang bullets, and I can make a list why any team won't cover a game. But at the end of the day,
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that because it fucks with your head.
yeah,
Yeah.
I completely agree. And like what Seattle's doing, like I really like what they're doing. It's just they really are a bad team. Geno Smith and two wide receivers are good. The rest of the team's kind of marginal, man. Really marginal, actually.
And Arizona's competing with in a tough division. So this is Arizona's going to win, and I like Dallas, man. The point spread went up to 6.5. It went down to 5 at one point. Now it's back at 6.5. I think Dallas. Uh, I think Dallas keeps this game, and it's a winnable game. But I can see this where if like Philadelphia has the ball and they score a field goal to win it, that type of game. But I take the points for Dallas. That's just my opinion.
No. Man, and that's one. I didn't understand the line movement. Normally, I understand the line movement. Unfortunately, it's always working against us. But that was one I didn't quite understand, and like I don't know why people aren't pumping the Cowboys. Like, and I love the Eagles. Like, who likes the Eagles more than me? And I don't understand why people weren't pumping them.
Well, I'm not jumping on the Eagles bandwagon. I'm really.
Well, that's good. I'm on it, man.
They're due for a loss. I don't want to jinx those who bet Philly. Listen, I love their fan base. I'm a Patriots fan, so we have that similar passion in our fan base. But I need to see Philly play better teams, and to come to that conviction that they are the top notch. I need to see them play Buffalo, Kansas City, Tampa Bay. That's all I'm saying.
I got you. And any other games you're looking at?
I love Cincinnati.
Yeah, man. And if I go down on that, I'm going down swinging because it's.
So Arizona and Cincinnati are my favorite two things. That's all I got.
All right, man. Hit me up on Instagram. When are you coming to Brazil?
When are you inviting me, man?
Dude, you're always invited. I said me and my wife will pick you up at the airport.
Okay.
And the hotels, where the hotel is, we have a very beautiful beach side here. I live 1 minute from the beach side. So, dude, like, and my favorite restaurant, I'll put my favorite restaurant up against anyone's favorite restaurant in the world. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care where you live. I'll put my favorite restaurant up against anyone's favorite restaurant.
All right, so I have a rule when I travel. I don't like anyone picking me up from the airport. 'Cause I just don't like. Hold on, hold on. I don't like to ask for favors. Now, when I get to Brazil, I'm inviting you to your favorite restaurant. How about
Oh, appreciate it. Appreciate it. But yeah, man, that'll be good, man. And yeah, it's not really like a favor. Like we're not. I'm not. I try to be hospitable, and it wouldn't be that big a deal. And I got to get out of the house sometimes because I spend too much time in the damn house, like stressing about 2.5, 3 all day. So any excuse to get out, it's.
Listen, folks, he invited me to Brazil. This is on live recorded TV, so I might one day hold you accountable.
I got you. No, no, dude, you're invited, man. And like I said, the hotels are really good here. You'll stay in a 4-star for like $35 a night. Like, and there's other things that are great here that, can't say on YouTube.
Don't do this to me, man. I've been sick for a whole week. I'm dying for some sunshine and some, you know what I'm saying as a man going to Brazil, man.
No, no, like it really helps. Like it really helps getting sun and just being near the beach. Dude, like I had the power explode today. Like once every 6 months, some idiot does something like, that's where we're at. We're in South America. So like I heard this big like boom. So power was out, but it got back. So once every 6 months.
They've been drawing that white powder, man. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane.
All right. Well, listen. Let's add up some of these winnings, man. I'll be in Brazil. I bet that's on my to-do list. That's the easy thing. But we'll stay in touch, homie. Let's win.
All right, man. Have a great week.
Okay, brother.
Lauren, how are you doing? And just want to say, Devontae, once Lauren gets off, I'm getting you on, my man. I got you in my email. So, hey, Lauren, how are you doing?
Hey, guys, what's going on?
It's going good. Like, so we might as well just get to that Saints-Bengals game.
That's what everybody wants to hear from me, right? Because
yeah, we might as well get to it.
750 fan mail requests asking me to talk about it. So, let's go. I mean, we've got injuries all over the place, right? So Michael Thomas is out. Pretty sure Andy Dalton is playing. Olave, I think, is questionable. I think he is in concussion protocol, but looks like he's going to play. At least let's hope so. My question is, does anybody know about T. Higgins? I was just trying to look that up before you brought me in. So
it's game time decision from what I've seen.
Game time.
Okay. He was limited in practice on Friday. Friday they don't do anything, so it's not like practicing Wednesday. So game time, I would imagine.
Okay. So I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to go against everything that I always preach that I do and don't. And you guys, everyone knows I am a fan of both of these teams. This is a Joey Burrow and Jamar Chase homecoming. So LSU alumni is coming home. And so I think it's going to be a big game. And I am against the public. I'm against you. I'm against your boy. It is the Saints will win.
How are they going to win?
So from what I love Cincinnati. Okay. I love Joey Burrows. You guys all know that. I'm the biggest Cincy, AFC team out there. But the problem with me with Cincinnati, because I could go either way on this, Joey has spent way too much time on his ass this year for me to think that he's going to be able to make it.
Makes sense. Yeah, I'm worried about the Saints defense though. Like if this was last year's Saints defense, I wouldn't bet this game.
Ed and I, right? I was on the Saints last week, and they pulled it off.
Okay.
I was right.
But I don't think that was I don't think that was credit. Like it turned into a shootout against the Seattle Seahawks. They won because of Taysom Hill, but my God, they didn't play good, Lauren. Do you think they played good?
So I think some players played good, which you could say for any team, right? So here's the thing. They are using Taysom Hill as what they did when Drew was the quarterback. So when Andy is the quarterback, they are utilizing Taysom Hill the way they did with Drew. Has anybody not noticed that? I mean, I know it's pretty obvious, right? So if they continue to do that, now they really weren't doing that when Jameis was in there. They got their run game back. Kamara, I think, is going to be a little too much for this Bengals, and somebody just put it in there, as I said that, for this Bengals defense. I do think that the offense of the Bengals has way more weapons healthy, obviously. I think that Lauren putting voodoo spells on her picks. I think that Jamar Chase is going to be double covered. There's going to be a problem with them if T. Higgins is out or even banged up. I think that the Saints will win this game, and I know I'm going against. And again, I've preached this how many times. I don't do London games, and I don't do my own team. And last week I said if it was any week I was going to take the Saints, it was going to be that week, and I did. And this week, the same thing.
But aren't we isn't it a little bit early to say the offense is moving in the right direction? Like when the Seahawks give up a 30, 40 piece to pretty much every team in the league. That's where I'm at. But yeah, man, I need the Saints to get some wins because I got a big bet on them. But
I know you do, and I just think that Joey, who I love, Joey Burrow, has just spent way too much time on his ass this year for them to be able to capitalize enough points to cover. And I'll tell you right now, it is my best bet this week.
Yeah, no, Lauren, and that was one thing I didn't understand last week about the Bengals game. Ravens had a good pass rush in the first half, and then they didn't get anything in the second half against them. That was one thing that was puzzling. Yeah, man. So what other games you like?
I'm with you on Arizona. I'm with you.
Yeah. So because you saw the Seahawks up close and personal last week.
Sure. And I actually think Kenneth Walker is going to help Seattle more, to be honest with you. Rashad Penny is probably the most fragile player, I think, in the NFL. So it was really
such a big guy. When he's healthy, he's trucking. But but
it was only a matter of time. I'm surprised he made it to week 6, to be honest with you. And that's sad to say and probably terrible on my part, but I think Kenneth Walker is actually going to help this team. And the only thing I think that will work against Arizona is if they're not prepared for somebody like Kenneth Walker, because Arizona, they're always playing catch up. That team is always playing catch up. And if Seattle gets ahead too much, that scares me a little bit with their run game. If Kenneth Walker starts running all over the place, but I think that Arizona should have this week locked up with them. I do. I'm on that. I don't know what to think about Miami. I don't know. I think their third stringer is still playing again.
Yeah, he's officially starting.
I think Minnesota should be able to handle this, but there's a lot of times when I love Minnesota, and then there's times when I think Minnesota's trappy.
That's why I think everyone should just not bet it.
Yeah, stay away.
But Minnesota, the thing they struggle with is if teams are actually going to legit throw the ball against them. And you would think a third string quarterback wouldn't be able to do that. I would hope. But like I said, I'm not confident. And I'm sure you've noticed Saints brought their D+ game to London, and they almost snuck out of there with a win against the Vikings. So that's just one example of the Vikings. Then we can go on. We can look at that Bears game last week. Credit to them for winning, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and we actually have teams on a bye this week. Good God, the Raiders need it. So good for them. That team can, like I've said it before.
I want to see the Raiders get going. And if they were able to pull out that Chiefs game, their season would look so much better right now. It's kind
of when I knew they were going to lose? When they were up 17-0. Once they were up 17-0, that's it. They just dug themselves their own grave, putting Patrick Mahomes behind after the first quarter. That's when I knew they were going to lose.
Yeah. And people are pretty much agreeing with us about that Minnesota-Miami game. Like, I get why.
Stay the hell away. Watch some, you know what I mean? Look for the highlights later. There's a lot of other stuff to be looked at this week, you know. It's a tough week.
So one game from my personal point of view, I don't know if people are too interested in this game, but I wanted to get your opinion. San Francisco -5. Some books have it at -5.5 at Atlanta.
Jimmy G. I mean, he pulls out the wins, man. He just pulls out the wins. What is it? 5.5. Atlanta's at home. Atlanta just, they find a way to hang around. Now, I don't know if it was Tampa that they were just decided to take a nap at the end of the game, or they just assumed they were ahead by so much they didn't care. But if one thing we've learned this year in the NFL is that you can be up by 3 scores and it doesn't mean shit in the fourth quarter. So, they should really let their foot off the gas, and that could have bit them in the ass. So, San Fran, I think, their defense is top 5. They are so good on defense. And I think Atlanta's going to have a really hard time, especially without their weapon X of Cordell Patterson. They got this round robin thing going with Algier and
the other guy. They're not good enough. And they were running it. Credit to them. But their whole comeback plan in the second half was just running up the middle. I'm sure you heard me bitching about it, but yeah.
And they just poured it on in, Carolina. And I was on Carolina to cover that. I really was. I really thought they could hang around with, if they couldn't do it, if Carolina couldn't hang around with McCaffrey and all the weapons they've got of DJ Moore. And credit to Mariota. I like the kid. I really do. But I don't think 5.5 is enough. I think that they're going to struggle. They might have a few plays here and there, but if, San Francisco's defense is better than Tampa's, in my opinion. And so if they laid an egg the whole first half against Tampa, you can only imagine what's going to happen against San Francisco, in my opinion.
Yeah, and there are some injuries for San Fran. I
haven't seen the update on that. But
Bosa's question, just to read it off because people are talking about it. Jason Verrett's out. Nick Bosa is questionable. Javon Kinlaw is out. Eric Armstead is out. Jimmy Ward is out. Here's my analysis of that. Of course, it's a little bit troublesome. But if Joey Bosa plays, I'm fine because like I've been saying this whole year, I think San Fran might have the most defensive line depth in the league. And then also you never seeing Verrett and Jimmy Ward out of any game. Jimmy Ward's very, very good. But one thing we know with Atlanta, yes, they slung it around the park against the Seahawks, but Atlanta, they don't really throw it too much over 7-10 yards. I don't know if you've noticed that. So
no,
there's a lot of injuries though. God damn.
And it is a lot. I obviously Mariota's a mobile quarterback, but I don't know how mobile he's really going to be against the front 7 of San Francisco. You know what I mean? It's just going to be a tough day for him.
Yeah, and I like Arthur Smith. I really like what he's done. What other games are you watching?
I'm on Cleveland with you.
It's going to be a sweater.
Yeah, I'm on as long as Tyrod doesn't do some red zone interceptions. This should be an easy win for them. It really should be. You've got a third string quarterback against a veteran of Tyrod Taylor. You've got some great two-headed monsters in Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb against a really great run team of New England. Obviously, we see that. But when it comes time for someone to make a deep ball throw, I'm really hoping Tyrod Taylor can make that happen over, against a Bailey Zappi. So
Yeah, like Jacoby, he's actually been
Jacoby,
better
what
than
did I
I
call him?
thought.
Tyrod, sorry.
Yeah,
Jacoby.
Tyrod played with the Browns.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking I'm like having flashbacks right now.
It's just, yeah, like that's what I'm looking at. And I am getting a little bit gun shy, after this Cooper Rush stuff. After Bailey Zappi playing good last week, he didn't really play good. He threw a few balls to tight ends across the seams. Credit to him, but it is the Lions. It's kind of like an asterisk with the Seahawks defense as well. But yeah, like Browns actually haven't looked bad offensively. They haven't looked bad at all.
And if Browns want to hang around this division with the way Baltimore is, and with Cincinnati being obviously the returning champs and things like that, if Cleveland wants to hang around this conversation, these are games they need to win, at home games against a third string quarterback. So they're kind of in where they have to make this happen. It should be handed to them on the silver platter. In fact, this line probably should be more. So, but
yeah, well, Patriots, everyone loves them.
It's just like the Yankees, so it's going to be the same.
They really are. They kind of really are like the America's team, like due to how long Brady was good with
the dynasty and all of that stuff. I want your opinion, and I don't know because I joined late, but I want your opinion on this Pittsburgh Tampa, because I got my ass handed to me. I'll be the first one to admit it when I'm wrong. Pittsburgh with 14. I think they got 3 or 0. I don't even know. But it was Josh Allen. So let's all just give credit to where credit is due. And I am on Buffalo this week as well.
We'll talk about, because we want to get your opinion on Buffalo, then we'll get you to poker. It's just a quick thought on the Steelers game. Like, can we just agree this is kind of like Miami, Minnesota, and not to bet it? And then the second thing is betting Tampa Bay, I'm out of it. I'm out of it.
They don't look good. They don't look great.
No, and I want to see them in like a -2.5, -3 before I even bet them again. Because they don't look good. And then the way that Atlanta covered that game, if Atlanta was slinging it across the park and all that, I would have felt a little bit better. But just running it up the middle every play against a very good front seven, it scared me a ton. And Pittsburgh, I don't know what do we make of that game against the Bills? What do we even analyze with that? I don't know.
It was a Bills statement. Bring on Kansas City.
And where did the Steelers go from here, though? Because there's no bright spots. I mean, I guess you got Pickett reps, but I don't even know how to analyze it.
He has been named the starter, right? So Pickett is starting again. And I don't know. I mean, the poor kid had to go up against the Bills his first start. God bless him. But maybe at home, he's going to be a little more comfortable in Pittsburgh. Tampa hasn't really shown that they can be that much of a favorite, though. A 5.5, maybe. But what is it, 8.5?
Yeah, and it's going to keep pushing up.
That's a little too much for me to stomach for a team. Now, I will tell you, this is the first time Brady's, maybe the first time in weeks, he's got Evans and Godwin, and everybody is healthy, and nobody's suspended, and nobody's got cramps or turf toes and rib injuries and legs and ankles. And so this is the first time really. So it really should be, an easy win for them. But and Najee is almost like a deaf mute this year. He's so obsolete that I feel like eventually he has to get going.
Well, and both of these teams have bad offensive lines.
Right, trash.
Tampa's not getting a push in that interior. And it is becoming a problem.
And as soon as TJ Watt went out for Pittsburgh, the whole team went to shit. I'm not blaming it all on Trubinsky at all. I'm not. So, you know, I don't know what to think of that. I don't know if you take the 8.5 just because it's so sexy, or if you just leave it the hell alone and say good riddance. Let's see what the hell happens, because I don't know if I can trust Pittsburgh even to score once or twice, and I don't know if I can trust Tampa to win by 2 scores the way they've been playing against mediocre teams.
Yeah, and that's the problem with like +8s, +10s, +14.
It's a 2-score game.
Backdoor cover. Like
it's a 2-score game, and I don't trust it, so I'm out of it. I'm out.
So let's get to Bills at Chiefs.
Yes.
Who you got?
I got the Bills. They have proven this year. I mean, I know they lost to Miami that week. It was a wake-up call to them, but every single game that they are in, they are just blowing people out of the damn water. Kansas City, they lost to Indy. They almost lost to the Raiders. You know, I am not believing in this Kansas City defense as some people are. And now they've got Josh Allen. And for the first time ever, Mahomes is a home underdog. There's a reason for it.
Yeah, I don't want to overthink this one.
There's nothing to overthink. The Bills are a better team.
I do think so, and I want us to see Tre'Davious White out there, and then I'm going to pound it. I just have to go look that information up, and Lauren, eventually, you have to think losing Tyreek Hill will have some sort of effect.
I agree.
I talked about this with you for the last 2 years. I've been saying it, and a lot of NFL GMs obviously agree with us. Superstar receiver, it's not a quarterback, like your superstar quarterback, but damn, I'm not sure any other position makes the same amount of impact as a superstar wide receiver. It has to have some effect.
Do you think that Minnesota would have won half of these games without Justin Jefferson?
No, it would have been hard for them to beat the Bears. Like the Bears might have got them.
Yeah. And without Chris Olave last week, I don't know that the Saints would have beat Seattle.
Because you need the chunk plays.
You know, and that's the thing. And you look at some other like Cooper Kupp. The Rams might be 0-5 right now if they didn't have Cooper Kupp. Just saying.
And I agree with RG because, like, I love Travis Kelce, but I don't think a superstar tight end is equal to a superstar wide receiver. And then also, I'm not sure Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the league anymore. That's controversial. I know. I just don't think he's as good as people make out. So I think it's hard for him to cover up for Tyreek Hill. And we see what Tyreek Hill's doing with the Dolphins, man.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. I mean, I literally watched the Las Vegas Raiders do their defense to Travis Kelce. They left it. I mean, the guy was torching you all week, and all you're doing is watching him, and he's wide open. That just goes to show you what kind of trash the Raiders are, right? And I said this weeks ago, and I'm just saying it again. That team cannot cover. They cannot close a deal. And Travis Kelce torched them the whole game, and they still left him wide open. That will not happen with the Bills. The Bills they will not sit there and let Travis Kelce be wide open in the end zone for touchdowns, just walking it in, 2-point conversions, you name it. He did. I mean, it was almost like they were just like, well, he's got us, so we'll just forget it.
The pass rush let up too in the second half.
Terrible. It won't happen with the Bills. And
it's going to be a good game, man. It's on 4:00, right?
Why can't we have that game on Thursday night? Prime time.
I wouldn't want to see it get wasted on Thursday with the short rest, but at a certain point, they're going to have to think about it. If I was the guy at Amazon who paid this big money, you have to put on high quality teams, especially with the short preparation period.
I think that Amazon's got to be real thrilled right now because Obviously, I'm being facetious. They're obviously getting the worst dumpster fire games of the week are being Thursday night. They're the most unwatched games ever. Taysom Hill did take that game over, Michael. You're right, and that's going to be a problem if they keep playing Taysom Hill the way that they are. When Breeze was here, you might have just joined. I don't know if that's our Michael Mann guy. If that's what they're going to do, it will be harder to contain that because he's a truck. He's so hard to stop, and quite frankly, if Andy Dalton is winning and doing good things and they have a good game going, why change it? So, I'm just saying, it seems like they have better game plans for when Andy Dalton is in there with Taysom and doing the whole trade-off and all that stuff. But Jameis is the starter, so who knows? But I am on the Bills. I definitely think that they should win this game. They got knocked out of the playoffs. The whole overtime thing, the whole revenge factor is in there. Kansas City at home, it does sound appealing and it does sound sexy to take that, right? To take them as an underdog. But let's be honest, it's a field goal. It's 2.5 points, right? So Bills should be able to contain this, my opinion.
Got you. I got you. All right, Lauren, have a good night.
All right, guys.
Next.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon.
Got it. And Michael, man, I just saw you now. So send me an email. Devontae, I sent you the email. So if you get it, just accept the invite. It'll be like a link. And I'm going to get Michael Mann on if he wants to come on. Yeah, good energy from you guys tonight. Hit that like button. Help me out. Okay, let's see if I missed any Patreon questions. Okay. Sean Murphy, any chance of getting Patreon bets up? Okay, let me just write later Patreon questions answered. Okay, let's see what timestamp we're at. 1. Okay, hold up. 157. Okay, this is from Sean Murphy. Any chance of getting Patreon bets up any earlier for the European followers? Maybe not possible with the time difference. Yeah, let me think about it, Sean. Because the Friday injury reports come out. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I normally start seeing them at like noon, 1 o'clock Eastern time, which is like 6, 7 o'clock in Europe, in like England, Ireland. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I try to look at that before I put a good amount of bets on. Okay, we're getting Dion. But yeah, I will work on it to get it up earlier. What's up?
What's up, boss? What's good, man?
Dude, how's it going, man?
Shit, I can't call it out. Just on there on this tube, on listening to this video the whole time. I've been talking to you a couple times on Instagram.
Are you? I think I know who you are.
Yeah, that's me.
I keep trying to think. D Major, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Dude, I got a good memory of voices. So,
hey,
yeah, man, like, appreciate the support on Instagram.
Nah, always, man. Hey, you be on the money, though, for real. I'm not going front. You be on the money.
Appreciate it. Yeah, like, most of you guys know what you're doing. So, like, I like talking to you guys. Sometimes you guys educate me and save me from losing some. So
I think it's all sharpening the sword. That's how I feel, man. That's how I feel. But who I like this week, man, I ain't gonna lie. I like who she like. I like the Saints actually this week. I like the Saints, even though I know they got a few injuries, but I feel like Jonah Williams is not going to play for. Oh man, Jonah Williams is not going to play for Cincinnati this week. Actually,
he's going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's going to be a big problem. That's their left tackle, and I feel like I know the Saints can get enough pressure to keep that game under, which the Cincy has actually been covering the under every week. They have been
No, I
covering
love the
the under.
under in that game.
Yeah, the under in that game is real. I'm not gonna lie. If y'all like over and unders, that's a pick to pick right there. But I would say honestly, I got that game going to the trenches and staying under that with the Saints winning that game. Andy Dalton's been playing good, and he's actually undefeated versus old team. So
Yeah, I did see that. I like don't.
he's 2-0. He's
Do you feel
2-0.
confident with Andy Dalton? Like if you had
Yes.
put
Yes.
$2,000 on, you would feel
Yeah.
confident.
Yes. I will put that money right on Andy. Going against his old team at home field advantage. The only thing about it is I know Chris Olave should play this week. They said he practiced. They said Jarvis is out. They said that Michael Thomas is out. But I also seen that Lattimore was out too. So that was my only concern. So I'm trying to see how they play that with Marcus May.
Yeah, like Saints got depth in the secondary, but come on, like Lattimore is like he might be the best defensive player in the league. Like
He's one of the best DBs. He's one of the best DBs, but I still feel like that game will be held because I feel like they're going to get pressure on Joe Burrow. It's going to give them more chances. They're going to run the ball with Taysom Hill and Kamara and Mark Ingram, and they're going to give little dunk passes. Andy Dalton don't really have to do much to win this game. And keeping it a tight game, I feel like that game could stay in the teens, and we don't even see it that way for real. Because they don't have to score. I feel like Jamar Chase, they're going to run a shadow over him, a shadow double, and they're going to play him tight all game. If T. Higgins is out, like I think he's going to be, because he still has that ankle injury, Boyd is going to have to make a play, and Boyd can be here and there. It all depends. For real. Boyd will catch and make some catch for, but Boyd isn't that consistent as T. Higgins and Jamar, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like the advantage goes into the Saints as far as wide receiver wise. Olave, if he plays, I think he'll beast out on them corners. Because I don't trust Cincy's secondary as much as they played it. They played a good tight run. They played the run good, but I feel like that secondary could be had.
Well, and like that's why Olave is important because with the Bengals, like like them, they like to sit back and zone, and it's good to have someone with Olave's speed just to keep them pushed back so you can dump it underneath. That's where I'm at on it. Like where I'm at, the only thing I disagree with what you're saying. Firstly, the thing I agree with most, Saints got to start making these games fucking ugly. Like. Teams were afraid to play them last year. Like if Jameis didn't get hurt last year, that looks like probably what, a 10, 11 team. Like they look like they would win that much. Like, so like they got to make it ugly and they got to get more movement on the offensive line. I didn't think them losing Teron Armstead would like be the thing that falls this offensive line off, but we'll see, man, because they're going to have to run the ball. Like you're 100% right about that.
They're going to run the ball. I feel good about that. They'll run the ball against Cincy, and I feel like them being at home is in their favor. If this game was in Cincy, this is Cincy all day.
No, the Superdome is legit. I visited there one time in my life. Like if the Saints are good, it's on fire there. So who else you got? What's the second bet you like?
I think I'm crazy for this one, man. I like the Jets, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, go on. Give us your full argument like you did for the Saints, because I need to hear this.
All right, so as far as the Jets, I feel like Jair gonna be busy with Garrett, so that's gonna leave room for Elijah Moore on Rasul Douglas. I don't like Rasul like that. I feel like Rasul gets his days, is hit or miss. He can play it, but I can see him get carved up by Elijah Mitchell. And as far as what it is, they both have a good run game going, so we know this game is gonna be probably running the ball for Michael Carter, Breece Hall versus A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. I feel like Aaron Jones, it depends on if Aaron Rodgers' receivers want to show up, but Sauce been balling this year too. So that's another thing. They have actually a good set over there. They got that Quan, they got C.J. Mosley for real, they still got that Keenan, they got that Jermaine Phillips. They got a set over there for real. And I feel like they could get at Aaron Rodgers in that hurt up O-line, because I'm not going to act like just because they came back healthy, they're going to play out there like they're fully healthy. Niggas still get banged up here and there.
Well, one thing I
feel
would
like
say,
they can get pressure on Aaron.
Yeah, no, one thing you're right about though is the Packers offensive line gets really, really overrated every single year just because Aaron Rodgers throws it quick. And like you said, I'm not sure the Packers are going to stay consistent with the run game. That's why it's not a money pick for me, because they got to run it more. And like you said, like Lazard and Dobbs are starting to play like above average, but I don't feel like they got enough dogs. And then like, on Jets, Sauce Gardner is a dog. Like, that's what I'm watching. I want to see what they do with him this week. They should just put him on Lazard, but
that's if they do that. I wouldn't do that for real. But I say, but that probably would be the move. They put him on Lazard, but then you have to sit there and see what Watson going to do. But then you basically just leaving them a chance for them to get their play, and they've been kind of fucking up on route running here and there. For that's why Aaron Rodgers really been mad. Sometimes they've been off on certain routes. Like seriously, bro, you see that they're gonna be called. But I think that's going to be the main thing for. And if I feel like they have a good corner set to play them and knock them off routes, they just got to get back there and make a few little hits. They're going to send that corner a few times. They're going to send a couple corner DB blitzes at Aaron. You're going to get rid of that ball quick for real. And I think it sounds crazy. I think they could take that on the road, and they've been on the road since Zach Wilson has been back. So they got the weapons to do it. I don't feel like the defense has been playing. That's because Zadarius Smith been gone. I think that really is showing right now for real.
Yeah, because you got like Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary in the middle, then they don't got anyone on the edge.
Yeah, so you could basically swap the protection to one side for relieving that opening. That's what's going to let them open and run the ball on them, and that's why the Giants was able to do that last week.
So are you picking Jets money line or against the spread?
I'm thinking about money line, honestly, man.
Oh, okay. That's going ball.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm a little deep right there, but that's me. That's me right there. I put my little ticket down for that. But honestly, if I want to be serious though, I think if I want to be serious about that, I got Cardinals. I got Cardinals covering that spread. I got the Eagles covering the spread. I'm not with the that. The Eagles probably about to go in there and blow them people out. I'm not even going to lie to you. It looked good.
That's what I've been saying about the Cowboys for the last 3 weeks. Like I got on them in the Rams, but before that, I don't know how they're winning these games. That's why
I'm trying to figure out I guess that defense is playing it tight. But honestly, I seen it was a lot of flags in the Washington game that helped them for real. I feel like the Rams, they played them more of a tight, but honestly, I think the Rams is honestly in their own little flux since they didn't keep them wide receivers. They should have kept Odell. They should have kept Robert Woods. I feel like he was key, and they picked up Allen Robinson thinking that he was going to sub for that, and he ain't doing nothing.
No, he ain't doing.
He's a guaranteed under for anything right now if you want to put anything down.
Yeah, and the Cardinals one, that's the game.
They're 10-1 ATS on the road right now. I say that. And they actually have been covering these road games for. They covered the Raiders for. They won all their road games. They just ain't been good at home.
Yeah, man. So any last word? What? So I agree with you about the Eagles. That game, that's why I'm sitting out of it, because the Eagles are probably most balanced game in the league. Before you go, tell us why Arizona's going to cover.
I think Arizona's going to cover because I feel like they're going to miss that Rashad Penny a lot. I think that's going to hurt them. It's not going to be able to allow them to dictate the run or the game as much. They probably give that ball back. We're going to have Geno probably throwing a little bit more. And Arizona defense ain't bad. They know how to. They're actually good in the first to pass for real this year.
No, and they don't have any stars, but they always play pretty decent.
They do.
That's all you need, because the Seahawks.
Isaiah Simmons is nice. I'm not gonna lie. I like Isaiah Simmons actually. You gotta look. They got Zach Collins back there. They got to move back there. They could do some things for real. I'm not gonna sit there in front. I think they'll keep it tight, but I feel like that game ain't gonna go over 50.
Gotcha.
I don't even know how it got that high, but I really think they're going off of Geno Smith and them scoring them points for real. But I don't think it's going to be that this game. Even though they're in Seattle, I think they'll probably be in the 20, low 20, 24-21 Cardinals right there. That's 2.5, right?
Yeah, you'll cover that, because I do think it's going to be a close game, because I know Cardinals are going to come out flat, but I think they'll take care of business.
Yeah, I think so. They should be able to. But that, yeah.
All right. Yo, come on again, man.
I am. I wish I could go into detail with some more things, but I got my little picks. I want to keep to myself for real though, because I
Oh,
don't want
got
people thinking I'm too much.
you. All right, man. Yo,
But
have a
I'm
great
listening.
night.
You too.
Okay. Yeah, man. So here we go. Yeah, Michael, man. I sent the invite, Mike. Yeah, man, we've had some good guests on tonight. We always get good guests on, man. The Jets money line, like, I like someone's just going just hard on it. And we do the upset video for a reason. I wouldn't suggest betting like Jets money line if you like the Jets, but dude, the upsets pay well. Like, what's Jets money line off the top of my head? What, plus 450, plus 550, something along those lines? Okay, yeah, let's actually go see what it is. Okay, 1 second. It's only plus 290. Oh my God. Yeah. Not as much value. I thought it would be way more. 7-point favorites, and then that's what they got. Super Chiefs fan has 1K on the Jets. Alex Diggs touchdown and 90 or 100 plus yards. Good bets in parlay. The touchdown gets a little bit iffy. I don't think that's a bad bet. I probably wouldn't do it. Like, I like betting yardage. I like betting yardage. That's what I'm into. And I would bet the over for Stephon Diggs catches. I haven't seen it, but normally they put him like 5.5, 6.5. They're going to go to him underneath. I could see a lot in these games. Yeah, man. Yeah. Especially, I've been noticing some really messed up stuff, my man. I've been noticing it. Michael, man, I sent the invite because we're at like 2:10 now. So let me know if you're coming on because I gotta go do some more research and get these up. Yo, Drake, I haven't seen you in a long time. How are you, man? Are you on Instagram? I haven't seen you in a while. You were here since the day ones. Michael, man, what's up?
Hey, what's up, boss? Good to see you.
Dude, so are you feeling good that Matt Rule's gone?
Oh my gosh, dude, that made my day. You know me, I've been waiting for that for like a whole year. So I'm glad it finally happened. Took way too long.
Were you surprised that Tupper did it so early in the season? Because now he did. Yeah, me too.
I actually was. You know what? And I think I talked to you about this already, but like, I felt like after he fired Ron Rivera like so soon and like how much hate he got for that, I really thought he was going to drag this thing out. Like, I thought I'd have to wait till like December, maybe January to get this news, but no, he pulled the trigger. Thank God. He deserved it.
Yeah, no, and it just seemed like this team was in chaos. Like, it almost makes me want to defend Matt Rule because I feel like Tupper needs to take some responsibility for some of the shit that's going on. Because, dude, you didn't like the Baker Mayfield thing. I didn't like the Baker Mayfield thing. It's just you give him Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, there's only so much you can do. But Matt Rule is not an NFL coach.
To be fair, here's the deal, though. Like, first off, he's the one who made that decision. Like, he decided himself that he wanted to go after those two guys. And he's still the one who implements the scheme. Like, even with the quarterbacks we've brought in, like, you look at their stats, and anytime they've come here, they've gotten worse. Like, it's not like –
that's true. But
like, every quarterback he's brought in has statistically had their worst year of their career.
I don't know, man.
And you're telling me –
I don't think Matt Rule stood up in the meeting with the GM and said we need to get Baker Mayfield. Like, I feel like they're in a desperate situation, and I don't know. I don't know how the hierarchy works there.
I think he did. Like, I legit think – I know for a fact he wanted Darnold. Like, he fought and clawed to get Sam Darnold. Like, Tepper apparently wanted to draft Fields, like that draft. But but they weren't confident that they were going to get him because like we had a later pick. So they went and got Darnold, and then when it came to draft time, they just stuck with him.
Yeah, man. But it was smart by Tepper to cut him now, even though he's going to get that reputation, because now Matt Rule, he has so much time to get another college job. So I think maybe he has to pay less buyout. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was smart by Tepper. At least he went in with it.
Mm-hmm. I was very happy about it.
Yeah, man. Like, although wouldn't their strategic play to do would be just the kind of just let Matt Rule
just tank it away.
Dude, there's some I don't watch college. You guys watch more than me, but is there like 2 or 3 dogs at quarterback in this draft? Or am I
there are, yes. Well, dude, you know what though? Like either way, I think the Panthers are like leading favorites right now to land the number 1 overall pick. Like not just with their play, but look at their schedule. Like their schedule's fucking brutal, man. They get no breaks in that thing at all. Like I don't think the next winnable game we have is probably in like 4 weeks against the Falcons. Like it's a brutal gauntlet all the way.
And the way the Falcons are playing right now, that's
they can beat us.
Yeah. Like so, yeah, like that, and that is true. Like some of the bad teams have gotten wins. Like the Bears have gotten some wins. The Jets have gotten some wins. How the Giants look at them.
Washington's they got 2 wins too.
Well, yeah, Riverboat Brown will definitely steal some just to put them at like 9th or 10th.
He's gonna get 6.
Dude,
Ron is not. If you're trying to tank, I think Ron Rivera is the last coach you want.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, man, you were right about Riverboat Ron Rivera.
Thanks.
Like, dude, this dude, like, got you.
No, you're good. Sorry about that.
Like, man. Okay, you know me. You've been watching a long time. We never defended Carson Wentz, and we never fell for his bullshit, like so to speak. We were never one of those people. But for Ron Rivera, when he threw Carson Wentz under the bus, when that team, they can't block anyone. They can't rush the passer. And look at how many first-round draft picks they got.
And they have dogs in that defense. His scheme is outrageous, man. Like, and I commend you for conceding that argument because we had disagreements about that for like 2-3 years. Like that was a long argument that I had that I was trying to tell people ever since like 2017 that Ron Rivera was washed up, and yet this man still has a job in the NFL.
Yeah,
and I don't.
That might be the worst job in the league if you think about where to go work and like everything involved with it.
And you got Dan Snyder too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's the big part.
I live in that area now, and it's bad, man.
Yeah, no, and that used to be one of the football hotspots of the United States.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like,
but yeah, I like Ron as a person. He's a good guy, but he's kind of like Pete Carroll, where his scheme is just so out of touch, like so out of date that you can't win in this league today doing what he does.
Yeah, they're a long way from winning. And like credit to the Seahawks, they were another team going. Everyone thought number 1 pick. Look at what they're doing, man.
They're killing it.
Yo, like so, we didn't talk about this Panthers Rams game. You got any insight on it?
You know what? Like I heard people. I actually really liked our odds of covering it first. Like I thought going into that we had a chance until it was announced that J.C. Horn is out. J.C. Horn is our number 1 corner. I don't know how much film you've watched of him this year. But he's been playing at a top 5 level. Like, I don't know what he's on, but this man has just shut down every receiver he's played. Michael Thomas, Deebo Samuel, he's just, like, completely taken them out of the game. And I thought with Kupp coming in, like, he was, like, the key to stopping the Rams' offense. And I thought if Horn could do that, I thought we'd have a real shot to win. Unfortunately, J.C. Horn's out. He will not play this week. So now I'm kind of off that train. But the 2 ways I see this game going is either Rams beat us by like 20 points, or B, it's just a complete like turnover frenzy, 6-7 combined turnovers, complete crap show, and the Rams win late. Those are the 2 ways I could see it going.
Yeah, and like Jared, like no, like I actually kind of agree with you, man. Like I don't know, like I feel like he's kind of fake, but yeah, and like so PJ Walker starting, right?
Yes.
You think that's going to even be a difference? Like, you think it's just going to be a put between him and Baker?
I think it'll be an upgrade, honestly. Because the one thing he's not scared to do is actually throw the ball into tight windows. And that's something that we don't have in Baker.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah, like, so you're going Rams to cover, right?
Is it – how many points is it right now?
Let me see what it is. Last I saw it was plus 10. It's
Listen,
still plus 10.
Like, I get the appeal to bet the Rams and that they typically win games like this, but I don't think it's being talked about enough how bad they've been. Like,
No,
look at they've been atrocious. So a 10-point spread for a team that's been playing at that low of a level, going against a pretty good defense, like it's a hard cover.
Yeah,
I wouldn't touch it, but they should beat us by 20.
And I agree with Tim. This is actually a good reason not to bet the game, even if you like the Rams, because my conventional wisdom says bet Rams. But, like, listen, Steve Wilkes, they're going to come out and play hard for him. It's going to be a boost. And PJ Walker, at least he can scramble. Like, they need to get something. So,
dude, and it sucks. You know, people keep saying, like, that the Panthers are just a terrible team. Like, I don't think this is like 2019. Like, I don't think this is a full rebuild situation. Like it was a few years ago where the team was just terrible. You know, they have a good offensive line. They have a good defense. They have a decent receiver. They have a good running back. They need a quarterback and a coach who isn't a complete tard.
but they're going to have to get a quarterback somehow, and they haven't had good luck doing it.
Hey, we're working on it. We're tanking hard.
Yeah,
Tank train is up.
That's going to be the way they have to get a quarterback because Deshaun Watson was out there, and I know Tepper was interested, correct?
He was,
and they just keep coming up short. And like, it's good you didn't get him though, because that's
yes,
the last thing you would.
Yeah, you know, with how Jerry Richardson was let go, I think the last thing we needed was to go bring Deshaun in.
Yeah,
like I love Deshaun as a player, but that's just not the rep we needed.
Yeah, compared to like what Jerry Richardson did, and compared to some of the stuff Dan Snyder and Deshaun Watson has done, Jerry really did bad, man. Like,
yeah, he did. At least he was like he was honorable about it and quit the second that he got exposed. Like he didn't try to like sneak it off and hide it like Snyder's doing. Yeah,
man. Yo, so what? Any other opinions? I'm about to go take a shower. So give me your best bet.
Ooh, best bet. I think the Eagles beat the Cowboys by at least 10.
That's bold. I mean, think Eagles look really good, man.
I just think first off, I mean, you want to talk about like a good like trench warfare matchup. Eagles offensive line versus Dallas's D line is going to be awesome. I can't wait for that. But I just think if you stop the Cowboys run game and make them throw the ball, like you could just watch these Cowboys games, and tell they're scared to let Cooper Rush throw. Well, see what happens when he's forced to throw against that Eagles secondary, and I think they'll be in trouble.
Yeah, I'm dude. That's the thing. That's why I'm staying away from this game. This Cowboys thing has surprised me every step of the way. Besides last week. And
honestly, like Jalen Hurts is honestly a very bad matchup for this Cowboys D line with how aggressive they like to play. You can't really do that against a quarterback that's not mobile. You know, like you have to be contained. And that's not the style of defense that Dallas likes to play.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Eagles, they got to run the ball more. So, that game, I'm staying away from.
I'm pumped for that game, though. That's going to be an awesome, awesome game.
No, I think it's going to be really good. It's been a while since we've seen two NFC East teams with a good record. So,
yeah. I'm pumped for it, man. But
all right, bro. I'll let you get off. Thanks for coming on. Come on earlier next up.
I do my best, man. You know how it is.
Oh, no,
I get off when they let me.
Oh, I get you, dude. All right. See ya, Mike. Have a good
weekend. Peace out, bro.
Man.
You too.
Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. Patreon bets will be up 9:30, 10 o'clock Eastern time tonight. Let's get this money. Hit the like button before you leave. Thank you for watching the show. We went damn near 2.5 hours.